welcome
to Sort of a Story.
I'm Janey.
And I'm Max.
And this is the podcast where we tell each other stories, like fairy tales and folktales and mythology and monster stories.
Ooh. And also, you are here.
Yeah!
You.
Welcome to the podcast. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Max, this is episode 182, and we are going on a break very soon.
Yes, we are.
I think the last episode we may release is episode 183, so one more until we take off for July.
Yeah.
Guys, get ready to not have us.
Yeah, we're going to be gone so soon.
We're going to be gone so soon, but guess what? We need a break. Have you noticed it's been a little off the rails lately? We're sleepy. We need to not do this for a little bit, and we'll come back so ready for you.
Yes.
But if you're like, oh no, what am I going to do without those episodes? You can get 40 bonus episodes simply for paying us $7. Max, tell them how to give us $7.
You can give us $7 via Patreon. The link to that is in the show notes for this episode and every episode.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Hell yeah. Fucking right.
For $3 a month, you get access to the Discord, which is where we hang out with all of our podcast listener friends. It's a very lovely place, and I highly recommend joining it. For $4 a month, you get access to the Discord, plus we're your girlfriends.
Yeah, we are.
I'm your girlfriend. Janey's your girlfriend.
Yeah.
$4 a month.
Yeah.
Or for $7 a month, you get access to the Discord. We're your girlfriends, and you get a full-length bonus episode every single month, plus access to the back catalog of bonus episodes, which there are 40 of them now. So...
Yeah. That's true. And we release the bonus episode when we take our breaks, too. So,
yes,
you still get content. When you join, you also get all of our episodes a day early. If you're like Jonesin, one whole day early, when I remember to release them a day early. What else, Max? Oh, today we are going to have some guests at the very end in a sort of interview, and we used the Discord to ask them what questions they had for these special guests.
Yeah.
And so we get to feature some of their questions today. Lots of fun things happening in the Discord.
Yeah.
Birthday bot works now.
Oh my God.
There's a bot that'll tell you happy birthday. Only sometimes, though, I've noticed. It picks and chooses. But you know what? It's doing like 50% better than it was because it was at 0% like a month ago. Anyway, fun things happening over in the Discord. You should join us. We are on a time crunch today because our special guests are showing up in 2 hours via the computer and the internet so that we can do a quick interview. So, Max, who are we talking to today?
Jessica Freeburg and Natalie Fowler.
And they are the authors of the Monsters of series. I don't know if that's what they call them, but they should.
Yeah.
They do a bunch of books such as like Monsters of the South, Monsters of the Midwest, Monsters of Ohio, which I thought was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Monsters of the Pacific Northwest. They are researchers who collect basically like mostly cryptid stories from around the United States so far.
Yes, we had a story from them a couple of weeks ago, the Alabama White Thang.
You might remember the Alabama White Thang where I was like, hey, come on the podcast and explain yourselves. Anyway, today they're going to come on the podcast and explain themselves, and we are so excited for that. Jessica Freeburg and I have been talking, and she gave me some insight as to where they got the Alabama White Thang story, and I was like, oh, fuck. Come on immediately.
I'm excited.
We're going to hang out with them at the end, and today we're going to be each telling a story from one of their books, 2 of their books, I guess, because we have different books. Yeah, they're very good, and we'll link them in our show notes, and I highly recommend. They're very fun. But with that, Max, do you want to tell me a story?
I do want to tell you a story.
I'm so excited to hear it. Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay, Janey.
Okay, Max.
The story that I'm going to tell you today is set in our very own Georgia in the United States. Yeah, here.
I moved here to get away from all the monsters.
You moved to the wrong place,
Yeah,
sucker.
I moved to the fucking swamp.
Yeah, we got monsters at the wazoo, bro.
Yeah, they're right up in there.
No, they're out it.
They're coming out of our wazoo.
Yeah, they're escaping the wazoo.
They can try.
Mm-hmm. This is the story of the Georgia werewolf.
The Georgia werewolf?
Yeah.
That rocks.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm really excited. We don't have a whole lot of direct sources to support this story.
Okay.
Which this story takes place between like the 1850s to 1860s. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a whole lot of sources for a whole lot of things. But this is the story of the Georgia werewolf. In the small town of Woodland, Georgia, or depending on some accounts, Talbotton, Georgia.
Okay. Never heard of either of those places.
Me neither. They're very small towns in Georgia.
Yeah.
There is very suddenly a rash of sheep killings, cattle killings. All of the farmers in the area are finding that all of their livestock have been attacked in the night.
Aww.
And it's becoming a very real problem. Like initially it started off, it was like, something attacked a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like something is continuing to attack more and more and more and more every night.
Why don't they it's not common to put cows inside of like a pen, right? Like a barn.
I don't think so. I think they usually
put horses in a stable. Why not put cows in there? I feel like that would be a good way to protect them from wolves and the elements.
And the elements?
Cows deserve a little protection.
Agreed. In this small town of Talbotton, there is a small family. The Burts.
The Burts?
The Burts.
Who's their next door neighbor? The Ernies.
Got him.
PBS burn!
The Burts have lived in Talbotton for a while. Myrtle Burt.
Myrtle Burt!
Did I make that up? I didn't make that up. I did make that up. Mildred Burt.
No, it's Myrtle Burt.
Myrtle Burt.
And her son, Birtle Burt.
Squirtle Burt.
Squirtle Burt. Gotta catch them all.
Mildred Burt is the matriarch of this Burt family.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of 37, she was widowed when her husband passed away, but he left her a small house in the country on a bit of farmland that she could raise her 3 children in.
Okay.
Now, her 3 children are, for the most part, pretty normal. They're a little bit messed up having lost their father, but...
Except for Squirtle.
Except for Squirtle.
He's weirdly hairy. I love Squirtle Birds.
Yeah. The 3 siblings are named Sarah, Joel, and Emily Isabella.
Okay. I like them less, but okay. If I can make one quick note to this story. I don't mean to tell Jessica and Natalie how to do their jobs, but Squirtle
This is
Bird.
true, though.
Okay, fine.
These are real people.
Okay.
That is one thing that we do know, is that these are real people who really did exist.
Okay.
The rest of the events of the story are somewhat circumspect.
Got it.
But all of these sheep and cattle attacks are happening in Talbotton.
Mm-hmm.
And the people of the town are starting to get very upset. Their livelihood, their livestock is being attacked by whatever kind of creature. And it really seems like a wolf is probably what's doing it.
Yeah.
Some of the sheep and cattle are like partially eaten. Some of them are just killed and left. But the injuries seem consistent with a wolf.
Okay.
One man, William Morrow, who happens to be Sarah Burt's boyfriend, is visiting Sarah and her family when he mentions that his livestock have also been affected by these attacks that are happening all over town. And immediately, Mildred Burt's eyes go to her daughter, Emily Isabella.
The little one at the end?
Yeah. I don't know what order they are, but Emily Isabella is a little bit different from her siblings. According to some accounts, she looks a little bit more like their father than the other 2 kids do.
Her father was a wolf.
Yeah. No, her father had very dark, like wiry hair and like heavy bushy eyebrows, and she looks a little bit more like him.
Oh my God, she's so cute.
Yeah. I'm picturing, who's that little girl from the story that you told where she just has like a massive, like a tangle of black hair that's just a scribble behind her in all the illustrations? It's like a kid's book.
Oh, no. There's I think of the Changelings.
Maybe.
The little changelings, and one of them has the beautiful princess that belongs to the human family is like blonde. And then like the one that is a troll is just like a fucked up little creature.
I could have sworn we had an illustration at some point of like a little wildling girl.
Cute.
And that's kind of what I'm picturing for Emily Isabella.
Yeah.
So Emily Isabella is a little bit strange. She generally keeps to herself. She likes to read a lot. She inherited a library from her father, and so she has especially an interest in like the occult and the paranormal.
Jesus. Emily, come sit next to us.
Hey, girl.
You got fucked up hair and you like to read.
There's also an account, and again, most of this is unsubstantiated.
Yeah.
There's an account that at one point, Mildred Burt brought her daughter, Emily Isabella, into town to see a dentist because her canine teeth were a little bit too sharp. Like they were just a little unsettling. So when she smiled, they would just be a little too long.
My mom did that to me legitimately and had them file down my fangs when they took out my braces. And it was my biggest betrayal as a child.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
It is awful. They were so fucking cute. Everybody used to call them my vampire fangs because they were super sharp.
Yeah, adorable.
They were. And now they're fucking normal. And also filing down your teeth hurts. I don't really care what anybody says.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Anyway, they did that without my consent. So I get you, Emily Isabella. Werewolf gang for life.
Emily Isabella has just returned from a period of time at a boarding school in Europe.
Okay.
So she left for Europe and, again, all things considered, like a normal little girl. When she came back, she was a little bit more withdrawn and quieter. And she suddenly had a lot of issues with sleep.
Okay.
She would wake up in the middle of the night and she would go for these long walks. And her mother, Mildred, was very worried about her.
I mean, like, jet lag is a
Yeah.
thing.
For sure.
Also, puberty is a thing, sounds
Yes. According to some accounts, she was given a tincture of laudanum in order to keep her down.
like. Jesus.
It didn't necessarily say laudanum, but it was a tincture of opium, so
Oh.
I assume it was probably laudanum.
Okay. Just heroin.
Yeah.
Just get a teeny tiny little bump of heroin.
So she was given this like sort of mixture before bed in order to help her sleep, and usually that worked, but sometimes it didn't, and so she would end up in the middle of the night wandering around, and sometimes she would go for walks around in the woods near the house and would kind of explore at night when she wasn't able to sleep, which Mildred had asked her not to do, but Emily Isabella was a very strong-willed young child and decided to do it anyways.
Sure.
William Morrow, Sarah Burt's boyfriend, is at the table, and he tells them about his sheep and his cattle that have been attacked. And he mentions that some of the men in town are trying to get together a hunt to try and track down this creature and kill it, whatever this wolf probably is. But he also mentions that when he was talking to this group of other men about potentially going and executing a hunt, a stranger from Eastern Europe approached them. Someone coming through town. Maybe not a stranger, but someone coming through town that they kind of didn't know very well.
Just, hey, guys, what are we doing? Fellow crazy guys? A hunt. What the fuck is happening?
And this individual had posited that it was not a wolf, in fact, that was attacking the livestock. It was, in fact, a werewolf. Yes. Do you guys think this might be some kind of werewolf? So this Eastern European individual explained that back in the home country, there was only one way to deal with werewolves, and that was to melt down your silver and make silver bullets.
Yeah.
And shoot the animal with a silver bullet.
Yeah, that's standard.
Yeah. Very, very standard. So all of the men in the town got together and melted together all of their silver and created silver bullets. And then one night they all went out on a hunt in order to try and track down this wolf. And it just so happened that very same night, Emily Isabella found that she could not sleep.
Oh, no.
So she got up and she wandered into the woods.
Yeah.
The sound of men crashing through the brush quickly reaches her, and she goes to hide away from the sound of men's voices.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mildred, back at home, notices that her daughter is missing. So she takes a pistol that was left to her by her husband and goes out into the woods to try and track down Emily Isabella and protect her. Because, again,
and shoot her.
Because there's a wolf in the woods.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's fair. Good for Mildred.
Yeah.
Tough broad.
Seriously. So Mildred goes out into the woods with her pistol, and it takes her quite a while because Emily Isabella is hidden pretty well. But finally she sees a figure moving through the trees.
Yeah.
And then a moment later, she hears a snarl behind her. And she turns around, and before her eyes can adjust to the dark, she hears a creature lunge towards her. So she takes her pistol and she fires.
Yeah.
She hears the sound of a bullet finding its mark. She hears a screeching whimper.
Aww.
And then the animal crashes away through the trees. She tries to pursue it for a little while, but she loses track of it. And eventually She wanders through the woods. The men are now nowhere nearby. She wanders through the woods until she finally hears something, and she hears someone crying.
Aww.
And she comes across Emily Isabella in the woods, clutching a wounded hand.
Oh.
Her right hand has a bullet hole through it.
Coincidence.
Very quickly, Mildred packs her up and swaddles her in a coat and brings her home as quickly as she can. But word travels that these men saw something in the woods. They heard a shot. And then Emily Isabella showed up with a bullet hole in her hand.
Uh-oh.
So the thought was that potentially Emily Isabella had been the werewolf.
Yeah.
For a time afterwards, Emily Isabella had a really hard time in town, and her mother, Mildred, sent her away to live with family for a little while in Paris. Some stories say that she sent her to Paris to see a doctor who specialized in lycanthropy.
Okay. I'm Dr. Werewolf. Oh my God, it's just that guy.
The guy from earlier.
I'm Dr. Acula.
Dr. Scott Acula. She spends a couple of years in Paris, and then she returns back home to Talbotton. And in the time that she has gone to Paris, there are no further attacks.
Yeah.
When she returns, any sign that there was ever a wolf in the area has disappeared. And she lives out the rest of her life until she dies in 1911 at the age of 70. She's buried just outside of Talbotton. And I have a picture of her grave.
Whoa, cool. Did she ever admit to being a wolf?
No, she did not.
Did she lose her hand?
Some accounts say that she was just shot through the hand. Some say that her hand was shot off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if it's a shotgun, it would.
I have a picture of her, and I have a picture of her gravestone.
God, I love stories of real people.
This is Emily Isabella Burt.
Oh, she's hot. Yeah, she's pretty.
I think she's very pretty. She's got very striking features.
Emmy Burt.
Mm-hmm.
She died on my mom's birthday, June 18th. Write it down. At age 69.
Nice.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Yeah. And then her gravestone, this is what it looks like, and then I'll read the inscription for you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, a beautiful middle finger. There's just a middle finger up there. It says love at the top, and then somebody's flipping you off. This is hilarious.
Is that true?
That's a 10 out of
How
10.
did I not notice that?
I would like that.
No, that's a pointer finger. That's someone pointing up at God.
No, it would be no, it's not. It's a middle finger.
No, because count, there's 3 on the other side.
Oh, weird, because there's one on the other side, too. I guess it's the thumb. No, it's a middle finger. Don't worry. Mine will have a middle finger.
This page is maintained by Denise Roth, who is associated with the Woodland, Georgia cemetery, where this is she's buried in Owen Cemetery. She's also associated with the SIPR,
The Sipper.
Southeast.
Oh,
This is the one thing I should have written down.
can't be east. That would be an E.
Southeastern Institute of Paranormal Research.
Oh,
Southeastern is one word.
all right. I'll accept it.
And I read a couple of different articles about Emily Burt.
Yeah.
And a couple of them mentioned this individual, Denise, who is associated with Sipper and who is also associated with the Owen Cemetery.
Yeah.
Denise has a lot to say. She formally lodged a complaint with Sipper that she believes that this legend is patently false.
Yeah.
And she doesn't believe that there is any evidence to support the fact that Emily Isabella was a lycanthrope or even was rumored to be a lycanthrope.
Okay.
Some people have suggested that the story came about much later when someone was trying to collect a bunch of stories from around Georgia and that it was completely an invention.
Yeah.
They came across the grave and determined that...
Why would they do
made
that
up the
off of
story.
a random grave? Is there something on it that's like,
No.
This is a wolf?
Nope.
Oh. That's a bummer to do to somebody.
Yeah. If that is what happened, then
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. But Denise Roth has been a very outspoken advocate for the fact that this is not a lycanthropy story. This is just the story of a girl.
Yeah.
This is
Story of a girl. Cried a river and drowned the whole world.
The evidence that we have indicates that she was born She had 2 siblings. She was born to her parents. Her father died. They lived in this area around this time. She went to boarding school. Then she went to Paris. Then she died at 70. 69.
Nice.
Nice. So I'm just going to read this page to you really quickly.
Okay.
This is, I believe, by Denise Roth. Emily Isabella Burt grew up in an area known as Pleasant Hill near Talbotton, Georgia. Although her name is mentioned in several books as being known as the Georgia Werewolf, it is important to note that these stories are pure fiction. Emily Isabella Burt was not mentally ill. She did not suffer from the mental disease known as lycanthropy. She lived and learned from her mother, who was a great and kind person and extraordinary businesswoman. At the time of her death, Emily Isabella Burt owned a 300-acre estate in Talbot County, partial ownership of a warehouse in Talbot County, a house and land in Bullock in Meriwether County, and a house and land in Columbus, Georgia.
Wow. Jesus, she was rich.
The inscription on her tombstone is something that a couple of people have speculated about. I don't think that there's any foundation for it, to be honest. But this is the inscription. Thy form alone is all, thank God, that to the grave is given. For we know thy soul, the better part, is safe, yes, safe in heaven.
Okay.
And people have said that the reference to her form being the only thing in the ground is because she may have had more than one.
Oh. All right.
I don't know that I buy that. That just sounds like some...
No, I mean, it all sounds like you're reading into stuff. Like, it'd just be like, your body is here, but that's not where your soul is.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah. But that's the story of the Georgia Werewolf.
That's interesting. I will say, what's her name? Denise Roth? I would like to know where she got her, like, her mother was this great, kind woman. She didn't have any mental illnesses. She has this because she's like, you can't speculate on somebody's history. And I'm like, I mean, sure, but unless you specifically knew this woman, it really feels like you're speculating a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a little bit up on your high horse, like, overcorrecting in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't believe the werewolf bits. I do believe that just reeks of, like, local legend and fiction, but...
Absolutely. I mean, we don't even have, to the sources that I saw, we don't even have any evidence that Emily Isabella was shot in the hand.
Yeah. And that's totally fair. I'm just saying, like, her statement just immediately, like, pricked my ears of, like, okay.
Yeah. Well, we have, like, obituaries from the time. We know, like, what her mother did and everything.
Yeah.
Like, we know, like, certain information, but we don't know anything about, like, the potential for paranormal or anything like that. I don't know. I think that this is an interesting story of, like, the way that stories evolve and how local lore can sort of almost become fact in some ways, where people refer to this as the Georgia Werewolf. This is like a known story. A lot of people who like talk about werewolves and are in spaces where they are experts in like myths about lycanthropy. They know of the Georgia Werewolf, and she's like a known figure. But it's just interesting to me that there is no evidence whatsoever. Like, we don't have any like newspaper articles being like, everybody's sheep are dead. You know?
Yeah. Still a good story. I love a good local legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a fun one. I think that that's kind of a classic werewolf story too.
It is.
Which I like.
It is. It's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Good job.
Thank you.
You want to take a little break?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. We'll be right back. Okay, Max.
Okay, Janey.
Max, okay. I'm not going to tell you what the title of my story is, but I will tell you that my story is from Monsters of the Midwest.
Yes.
I was drawn to this because of my history with Missouri. There's only one Missouri tale here, and I've never heard it, and I'm not going to do that one. It's a Bigfoot story, though.
Is Missouri considered the Midwest?
Missouri is the most Midwest.
Really?
Missouri, Kansas, those are like right next to each other. Yeah.
Really?
Max.
I just found out that Alabama has a coastline.
You make me so sad when you don't know about Missouri.
I thought Missouri was next to Alabama.
No, Missouri touches Kansas. All right.
Am I thinking of Kansas or Kentucky?
You're thinking of Kentucky if you're thinking of Alabama. Missouri is like in the perfect center.
Okay.
That might put my hand out as if you can see the imaginary map in my head.
Missouri.
But this is from Minnesota. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what this cryptid is.
Okay.
I will say the beginning of this story, they do a really interesting prologue where they talk about how they're like, hey, this is what cryptids cryptozoology is. It's like the study of these like creatures that are like unexplained, is like that. And they also were like, hey, a lot of things that you know today started out as cryptids. Komodo dragons were a cryptid before science was like, no, that's real.
Yeah.
And
Colossal squid.
yeah, all these things that were once cryptids. So they were like, they basically put out a thing saying like, these are the things that people say like aren't real, or these are the strange and unexplained, but we never know what's going to happen tomorrow, that they're going to be discovered and be like, oh, turns out.
Or fish, coelacanths, also examples.
Or fish, brother of or dog. He's a demon. Anyway, I thought that was really interesting. Prologue was a very interesting one, very good one. They also give a little safety disclaimer that we're like, hey, people have lost their lives searching for these things, or they've trespassed, or they've broken the law to get proof. Don't do that. We're just trying to tell you a good story, man.
Yeah.
Also important to say. I also want to note that they do a pretty good job of sourcing. They have,
Nice.
At the end, I don't know how it is in your book, if it's that way in all the books, but at the end of mine, each story is sectioned off, and then they have where they got their stuff from.
That is not how mine is.
Really? Do they not have sources on yours?
You have sources from, like, the places where they got the stories, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. So they do have sources.
Yeah.
Not, like,
for each story.
Sources, I suppose.
Oh, and that might be how mine is. They have a bibliography at the end where they have the monsters or the cryptids, and then they have the sources underneath. Yeah. All right. So that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I was pretty happy to see that they did include them at the end. So this story is from Ross Township, Minnesota, and it's from the late 1800s. It starts with, quote, Jake Nelson rounded the corner of the dirt road that led to the Mickinock homestead. His thoughts had been with the family ever since he'd heard that they returned quickly from a hunting trip in Canada, just north of Indian Village, because Mrs. Mickinock was unwell. So this was a very young family with small children, and Jake was really worried about them. So he and his wife had gotten together, and she packed up a care package with like food and treats and stuff for the kids, and then he walked it over to the house to make sure they didn't need anything from their neighbors. As he was walking up to the house, he saw Mr. Mickinock coming out of the barn, a pail of milk in his hands. And Jake greeted him, and Mr. Mickinock gave him this weary look, and he was like, "Hi, thank you for coming." And Jake was like, "Yeah, I heard your wife is sick. I just wanted to see how you guys are holding up." And Mr. Mickinock was like, "Yeah, we don't know what it is. She just suddenly got really sick, and she's been bedridden ever since. Like, she just can't get up. She sleeps all the time, and she's not looking good." And then he said, quote,
rude.
Yeah, she looks so ugly. He said, quote, "She told me before we came back that death had taken control of her. That's how she said it, Jake. And I believe she might be right. Her skin's so pale you can almost see through it. And she just sleeps all day. The children won't leave her side." End quote. I know, they're little. Jake was like, "Well, I'll pray for you." Does that help? Maybe it does. He's like, "We're all praying for you. We're praying for your whole family. We'll keep praying until she's better." And the guy was like, "Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you." And then Jake gave him the basket of food for him and the kids. The basket had cornbread, jam, and apple pie, which honestly, that all sounds great. What a great basket.
Mm-hmm.
Mickinock took it, making a remark that he was like, "Oh, great. I haven't been cooking much. I really don't know how. And the kids are kind of missing it. So they're going to really appreciate this. Everything I make is horrible." And then he kind of glanced back at the house and he said, "I'd invite you in, but she's sleeping." And Jake was like, "No, I understand. Just holler at us if you need anything." And the other man took his pail of milk in the basket and he went inside. And Jake kind of watched until the door was closed. And then he kind of looked around the yard, right? And he's like, "Okay, what needs to be done?" And the first thing he noticed is there's wood scattered near the chopping stump, and there's this axe lying nearby. And he's like, "I could chop some wood for them." And then he's like, but she's sleeping. If I start chopping wood, then it actually might be more of a nuisance than that." And so he kind of looks around and he realizes they have like a wood pile that looks like it's going to get him through the next day, at least maybe 2 days. And he's like, "I'll come back tomorrow and I'll ask him when a good time is for me to do this,
Yeah.
Respectful. Jake seems nice. That's what I'm saying. So deciding that he's going to come back tomorrow, he turns to head back to his house. And that's when he saw it, Max. 2 lights were rising out of the muskeg just beyond the woodpile. A muskeg is a bog. It says it's a vast North American swamp or bog ecosystem, primarily found in the Arctic, subarctic, and boreal regions of Canada and Alaska. So they're pretty close up to Canada, but muskeg. I'm going to call it a bog. The people here were no strangers to lights floating around the bog. They looked like little orbs floating off the marshy waters, bouncing along the trees, and then they would like disappear after a bit. And it's pretty much known at this point that this isn't anything supernatural. It's like gas that rises up from the marsh.
Swamp gas.
Yeah. But these lights were different. First of all, they were brighter and they were like really like steady, and they weren't floating and disappearing. In fact, they seemed fixed the exact same distance apart. And they were rising, but not randomly. The closer they got, the more Jake realized they were set in a gaunt face. Quote, the face was covered in ashen skin that seemed to be stretched across nothing but jaw and orbital bone. End quote. And pretty soon, Jake saw the rest of the creature. It was thin and super tall. It was like 15 feet tall. It just kept rising out of the swamp. It was emerging from the water and was dressed in what kind of looked like white lace. And as he like stared at it, he whispered, "It's a Wendigo."
Is it?
It's a Wendigo.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the story is called the Wendigo.
I have never heard of a Wendigo described like that. That's really cool.
Me neither. He turned and he ran as fast as he could down the road. Jake knew all about Wendigos. The natives around him talked often. They claimed it came like a banshee to foretell death. They said anyone who saw one would be cursed to eat human flesh for survival. So I had never heard, I've heard lots of Wendigo stories.
Yeah.
I had never heard that it's a harbinger of death, like a banshee. I looked it up, and that is true. The Wendigo is an Algonquin legend, and that is true. If you see it, it's been like somebody's going to die. And it's also a common belief that if you just see one, then you will turn into a cannibal.
Wild.
Yeah. They also spoke of a shaman, a man known as Jack Fiddler. He was a successful Wendigo hunter from far northern Ontario. Real guy. Jake ran as far as he could, and then he stopped to, like, catch his breath. He was beginning to doubt himself. He's like, okay, you didn't really see that. Like, oh my God, you probably saw something in the swamp. Like, you're a man, you're fine, turn around, figure it out. And he turned around, and he realized, nope, super saw it. The thing is still standing there, just, like, staring at him all spindly like Slender Man. And he realized, he's like, oh my God, it was, like, retreating back into the bog. So, like, now he kind of sees its back. He stood frozen, unable to tear his gaze away from it, thinking like, is it going to come after me? Am I going to go mad? Am I going to be forced to eat human flesh? And so finally he was able to like break himself out of this like fear trance, and he turned and he ran all the way home without stopping.
So he's like a good neighbor, but not like that good.
Not a great neighbor. Well, it's not going towards the house. It just came out and then went back into the bog. The next morning, he was still shaken up, but he was also worried about the Mickinock family. So he returned to their house, which I think is very brave of him. I don't think I'd be able to go back there. And he saw the children standing in the front yard, and their cheeks were just like streaked with tears. The doctor was at the door speaking with Mr. Mickinock. Jake watched him pat the young husband on the back before leaving. And as the doctor passed Jake, he shook his head and he said, "She passed away this morning." The wife died. Jake looked back at the children who had just lost their mother, and then his eyes drifted back to the muskeg, half expecting to see the Wendigo rising from the marshy waters again, ready to claim another life. Quote, "The Wendigo was gone, but with it went a young wife and mother. Jake wondered again with a shiver if the monster had seen him, and if Jake himself would also be cursed." End quote. We'll never know. So the story, that's where that story ends. And it has a note at the, like a half-page note at the end about Jack Fiddler, that shaman that was like a famed Wendigo hunter. He claimed to have killed 14 Wendigos in his lifetime. So I did a deep dive on him. Here's a mini off-topic. I don't know how cool it is. Remember my off-topic on Bridget Cleary?
Oh, no.
Sounds cool if you're thinking none of this is real.
Oh, no.
Guys, go listen to my off-topic on Bridget Cleary. Okay, Jack Fiddler's real name was, and I'm so sorry, this is an Ojibwe name, and I have no concept of that language. It's very difficult for me. but the name is Jawuno Gijigo Galbo. He was the chief and shaman of the Sucker clan along the Anishinaabe, and that is a tribe that is in northwestern Ontario, the Anishinaabe. A nation, I guess, not a tribe. He got the name Jack Fiddler from English traders, who often renamed the natives to make it easier on themselves.
Sure.
And I'm going to be a hypocrite because I kind of rolled my eyes, but I'm going to call him Jack Fiddler because otherwise you guys have to listen to me like struggle and it's going to take away from the story. So he and his brothers were talented fiddle makers, and that's why they were given the name Jack and Joseph Fiddler. And then the Sucker clan was actually renamed briefly to the Fiddler clan when he became like the chief of it, because that's kind of how they did it. They would just call it after the person who was leading it. However, while Jack regularly visited the nearest trading posts and he talked to the English all the time, and so he was really good at communicating, his clan was very isolated. Most of the people didn't speak any English at all, and they had no concept of Western ideals or traditions. Instead, they followed their shaman. Quote, "Stories recounting the shamanistic powers of Jack Fiddler have become entrenched in the oral history of his people. Many legends are told of his curing illness, but his most important power was his ability to confront and defeat the deadly Wendigo." End quote. This is a quote from the Dictionary of Canadian Biography on Jack Fiddler, and I've included that. A lot of this comes from that. Mm-hmm. So a Wendigo was thought to be a human being possessed by an evil spirit so menacing that its cry would leave people unconscious and help us to repel the insatiable cannibalistic appetite of the creature. Its presence in an area would frighten all game away and thus threaten starvation. I'd never heard that part either. And since it's a starvation disease, the idea that it literally drives everything away and forces starvation onto you is really sinister.
Yeah.
There are many documented instances of people who, feeling themselves losing control to this rapacious spirit, requested that family members kill them. Even the blood of a dead Wendigo was dangerous, so that often corpses would be burnt. End quote. So Jack Fiddler was legendary amongst his people for killing these Wendigos. Sometimes families would call them to their homes and beg him to kill their sick loved ones before they passed away, because if they passed away while being Wendigos and while under this curse, they were forced to become Wendigos themselves. And so they would literally be like, "We think that they're Wendigos. Can you please come here?" And they'd be like, "Sure." Come and get rid of them. Sometimes people who were on their deathbeds also begged Jack to save their souls from the Wendigo curse. In 1906, word reached the Royal Northwest Mounted Police of a, quote, "band of pagan Indians who are in the habit of killing one another whenever one gets delirious through fever or other causes," end quote. And I know I'm kind of making light of this, of like, oh, this is a whole thing. This is a literal belief amongst this tribe, and it has nothing to do with any like English or Western belief. So the fact that the police were like, "We got to go up there," I'm like, do you though?
Yeah.
Does this have anything to do with you? Doesn't sound like it, does it? They investigated the following year, so clearly they weren't in a fucking hurry. And a man named Norman Ray told them that Jack and Joseph Fiddler had killed a Wendigo just a few months before. And soon the two brothers were arrested for the murder of Joseph's daughter-in-law, Wasaka Pique. In Monsters of the Midwest, they describe her as being mentally ill, but I'm not sure where they got that detail. I looked and looked for it, and I'm not sure where that detail came from. It's possible, but I don't know. The two men were going to be put on trial and most likely sentenced to death for murder. This was kind of a divisive decision, though. Many people acknowledged that this was a cultural belief. So, like, even people around that weren't part of the tribe were like, "Hey, does this have anything to do with us?" Because he didn't go out just murdering. This is a full folkloric, like a full, almost like religious belief, right?
Yeah.
So do we have there was a debate at the time of like, do we even have the power to try this, considering it's not our beliefs, which I've never heard of that happening, that like debate happening in like the 1900s, but it was kind of like a controversial decision.
You said what year was that?
1906. They also pointed out that Jack Fiddler was a very old man who was described as being really gentle, and they were like, he doesn't pose a threat to society. Like you're acting like he's going to come off the mountain and start murdering people. Like it's just not how it's working. That being said, I don't think that that's a good argument because, you know, old men can still murder people.
Yeah.
Hashtag, yes, you can. On September 30th of that year, after about 3.5 months in jail, Jack Fiddler walked away from the police officer on guard, who I guess just wasn't guarding him very well. He strolled into the bush. Later that day, he was found, quote, lying on a rock with his sash tied in a large slip knot round his neck. The other end of the sash was attached to a tree. He was dead. So he, escaped and took his own life in the woods. His brother was then tried by a 6-man jury on October 7th. Here's a big paragraph alert, but oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
The Department of Justice had advised Indian Affairs against retaining a lawyer for him. So they were like, no, you don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So they didn't get him a lawyer. And an HBC, and I can't remember what that is. It's like a trading company. An employee of HBC, James Kirkness, who knew the Sandy Lake people better than any other outsider, was not called to give evidence as to tribal custom, although he sat through the trial as a translator. So he just didn't have any representation or anybody speaking on his behalf. According to Norman Ray's testimony, so the witness that was like, yeah, he got rid of a Wendigo. According to that testimony, the victim was brought to a sucker encampment very sick. She, quote, would not be quiet, and some of the women held her down to keep her under control. So this might be where that mentally ill thing is coming.
Mm-hmm.
When he saw her the next day, she was lying quietly. Jack Fiddler and Joseph Fiddler were placing a string around her neck with which they strangled her. It was said that if she had not been killed, she would have become a Wendigo. Commissioner Aylesworth Bowen Perry, who heard the case as a stipendiary magistrate, said in his charge to the jury, "What the law forbids, no pagan belief can justify." Go fuck yourself. As to the accused's ignorance of the law, quote, "That is a matter for executive clemency." The jury reluctantly produced a guilty verdict, but made a recommendation for mercy. Perry sentenced, the commissioner sentenced Joseph Fiddler to hang. So,
what?
Yeah, everyone was like, no, he deserves clemency because they don't know any English customs. That's his custom. People were, really pissed about this. Okay. It seems like the majority opinion was like, he shouldn't be tried in our courts. He should be tried amongst his people if they choose to try him.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this. I thought this was really interesting. But the judge still was like, no, death by hanging. Appeals for his release were eventually successful. But they came 3 days after he died from consumption in jail. Yeah. Briefly, let's talk about Wendigos. I'm almost done. Wendigos, or Wendigos, have been very popular monsters in media. If you mention them on TikTok, oh God, people are like, I don't claim this energy. I don't want this. If you mention them, they'll come get you. And I'm like, they're not interested in you. You're not their target demographic. Thanks. They often get conflated with Navajo skinwalkers. Totally different monster. Wendigos are an Algonquin legend and cautionary tale of what happens if you eat human flesh. In an area that is known for harsh winters and food scarcity, there's an obvious moral being shared in these stories. There's obviously a reason why this folklore popped up. According to Caitlin Smith for Facing History and Ourselves, which is a very interesting article, quote, in the course of the transformation from human to Wendigo, the person exhibits increasing selfishness, violence, hunger, and greed, particularly for human flesh. This is a story shared not merely for entertainment, but to reinforce the communal values that allow the communities in which this practice occurs to live well with one another and within their environments, end quote. And Caitlin goes deeper than this. So that's the first part. And then she says, but it doesn't stop there. There's a more overarching worldview here. She cites Native writers who use the Wendigo folklore as a way to highlight moral issues. So, for example, Native scholar Dr. Jack D. Forbes wrote a book in 1978 called Columbus and Other Cannibals, The Wendigo Disease of Exploitation, Imperialism, and Terrorism. Sounds rad.
Yeah.
In it, he says this, quote, I have come to the conclusion that imperialism and exploitation are forms of cannibalism, and in fact are precisely those forms of cannibalism which are most diabolical or evil. It should be understood that Wendigos do not eat other humans only in a symbolic sense. The deaths of tens of millions of Jews, Slavs, etc. at the hands of the Nazis, the deaths of tens of millions of blacks in slavery days, the deaths of up to 30 million or more Indians in the 1500s, the terribly short lifespans of Mexican Indian farm workers in the U.S., and of Native Americans generally today, the high death rates in the early industrial centers among factory workers, and so on, all clearly attest to the fact that the wealthy and exploitative literally consume the lives of those that they exploit. That, I would affirm, is truly and literally cannibalism. And it is a cannibalism accompanied by no spiritually meaningful ceremony or ritual. End quote.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah, go off. I want to read the book so bad.
Yeah.
Wendigos appear in comics like The Incredible Hulk, in books and movies like Pet Sematary by Stephen King. The Wendigo is like the main monster.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It shows up in
Spoilers.
shows like Supernatural.
Yes.
And all across TikTok and Instagram. At this point, unless you're well-versed in the actual legend, they kind of, to me, fall into the same trope as the Indian burial grounds.
Yeah.
There's an article from Jana Schmiedling for Medium, and she says they are just, quote, lazy ways to victimize white homeowners. And I'm like, yeah, I think that this falls in that same, like, native trope of, like, we didn't do this. This is a monster somebody else created.
Yeah.
A more apt Wendigo metaphor today, I think, would be the overconsumption of water by AI data centers. The fact that an argument against releasing the full Epstein files is that if we get rid of all the pedophiles, there'd be no one left to run our government. And the fact that our prisons in the U.S. are private, for-profit institutions that run on slave labor. But that's an argument for another day.
Yeah.
For now, that's the Wendigo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like where that went.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, don't worry about Wendigos coming to get you. Unless you're specifically an Algonquin native, you don't need to worry about that. Thank you. Cool, Max.
Very cool.
Well, we have a little bit of time before Jessica Freeburg and Natalie Fowler are going to join us. We'll put that at the end of this episode. So for now, I think we should just say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Look at pictures and stuff from these books. I mean, there's no pictures, but we'll post the books and stuff on Instagram at Sort of the Story. We will post video clips from our interview, hopefully, on our Instagram and TikTok, so keep an eye out for that. Join our Discord and discuss all this stuff with us by going to the link in our Patreon. Also, consider becoming a girlfriend who gets bonus episodes. All the coolest girlfriends get the boners, too. And email us at sortofthestory@gmail.com to chat with us and let us know your thoughts and send pictures of your pets. Can you think of anything else that you want from them?
No.
How about 5-star reviews, Max?
Okay.
You don't want those?
I mean, I don't care as much about this.
I care about those. Leave us a 5-star review and I will put it up on our Instagram stories. Cool.
Yeah.
And have a great day, guys. And enjoy our interview with Jessica Freeburg and Natalie Fowler.
Bye.
Bye. Hello and welcome
To Sort of an Interview.
Woo! I'm Janey.
And I'm Max.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Natalie.
It's already started like a train
Girls,
wreck.
no fighting.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah, it wouldn't be one of our recordings if it didn't start out like like a car accident. Max and I are here today with Jessica Freeburg and Natalie Fowler discussing their books, the Monsters of series. Is that what you guys call them?
We just call them the monster books, but you can call them whatever you want as long as you buy them.
I love it. Everybody stop listening right now. Go buy the books. They are linked in our bio.
Yeah, I found mine at our local bookstore, the Strand bookstore, down in downtown Savannah, which is very
I
exciting.
love that. We love independent bookstores, especially.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They love
Max, are you saying the Strand or E-Shaver?
E-Shaver.
Or
yes.
Stacks? The Strand is in New York. I was like, that is not our local bookstore.
No, it is not. I don't know why I was
Do not come to Savannah looking for the Strand.
I can just see Max out there on her bike, like going to New York to her local bookstore.
She's like, this is taking so long. I should have just gone to the other one.
Shopping local is really difficult sometimes.
P.S. You would love our local bookstore. It's in a building that was built in like the early 1800s, and it's filled with bookstore cats that are really fluffy and snobby, and it's definitely haunted. You
For
would
sure.
like her.
I would love
Come
it.
to Savannah.
We're coming. We're going to totally road trip.
I'll show you all the ghosts. All right, so at the beginning of this episode 182, Max and I pulled stories from two of your books. Max chose Monsters of the South, and I chose Monsters of the Midwest, because I grew up in Missouri and I felt very close to home.
Yeah.
Thinking about all those Midwest cryptids. And we loved them. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. We think you're amazing.
Hey. The reason why we started pulling all of your books and becoming obsessed with you was because a couple episodes ago, Max told the story of a new cryptid we had never heard of. Max?
The Alabama White Thang. That's Thang.
Max, say it how you have been saying it. She's classing it up for you guys.
Yes, I am. The Alabama White Thang.
I like that better.
That baffled us so much. If you guys don't remember, it's a weird white monster that hijacked a car, drove it a little bit down the road, and then jumped out.
It's just another day. I mean,
he kind of helped that guy, but just kind of like didn't even inconvenience him. Just had a weird moment. So the number one question we have for you guys is, can you please explain that?
explain yourselves.
Can you please? Where did that come from?
All right. Well, I will grab that one because that was one that I did research on. So that actually was a story. When we do our research, we kind of dive into like old newspaper archives. We have subscriptions to those for research level research on those. And that was one, though, I actually found in like a chat room where people were talking about personal experiences with the Alabama White Thang. There's like a lot of people who have stories about this.
Whoa.
And this one came from back when cars and buggies were kind of, in the same atmosphere. Everybody was driving cars for the most part, but this gentleman still drove his horse and buggy. That's why he took that long way, like over the mountain, because he didn't want his horses to get scared by the cars. Yeah. And it's funny because actually someone reached out to me after reading that story and they were like, I'm so excited that you included that story. I've heard that story so many times in my childhood.
Aww.
So it was one that is familiar to some people, but I know it's kind of like an obscure story. It was actually shared with a young man back in the 80s by his pastor. So, and someone had told the pastor the story. So it's kind of here. We typically like to here's a newspaper article about a story, but this one was a little bit more hearsay, but it was too good not to include.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a favorite for us. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was just, it had that exact tone too of like, this is passed on through oral tradition. And also weirdly the tone of, I'm going to share this in a chat room. It was just real chat room vibes. Big fan.
Yeah, it's so hard sometimes because the kind of stories that you want to tell, and it's sometimes they're not included in the newspapers or in a news report, on Fox 9 or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
You have to kind of dive a little deep. Sometimes I'll find myself in Reddit, but then I'll be like reaching out to the person who shared the stories, trying to validate and like get an interview set up with them so I can get their firsthand account.
Oh my gosh, how many people are out there that are like, I was featured in a book, and they're like, wow, what did you tell them? And it's like,
I actually had a really great story for a book that's coming out in our next group where I found a really obscure high school newspaper report of a sighting and reached out, and I was able to track down the woman and get her whole story. It was from the mountains about little people. Like that
we're obsessed with the little people. Yeah. If you ever do Monsters of the Philippines, I got some accounts from my grandmother on the little people.
Yeah, but it's so fun. That's actually my favorite, being able to actually talk to somebody that can share the story and once you track them down and get them. Yeah.
Especially we did an urban legends episode way back when, and I did the story of the Jersey Devil, and that was a big thing, was like when people try to talk to the people who like live in the house or the townspeople there or the ones that saw the Jersey Devil, they're so reluctant to talk about it now because they were so aggressively bullied by the outside world. So they're like, who's to say that you're not going to exploit me when you're knocking on my door and stuff, And so I do love giving people a voice to be like, no, I'm very serious about this.
Yeah. And we've come across that too. There was the Beast of Bray Road from Wisconsin in the Monsters of the Midwest book. There was it was widely reported. There was a witness that had come forward and he just he was trying to recant his story after a time because he was just so bullied about it. And you
so
just feel
unfortunate.
really bad. And that's, we really try to honor the people's, everyone's stories that are in the book.
Yeah. And you get kind of mixed reactions sometimes when you interview someone. Like some people are like, yes, you can use my name and send me a signed copy of the book. And other people are like, yeah, you can use my story, but please don't use my name. So try to
You're
honor
like,
whatever they want.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is ethical folklorism, right? Like Max and I talk about it all the time of like, you're going out and you're sharing other people's stories.
Mhm.
You have to do it on their terms a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Love that. So can you guys please tell us, how did you meet? What's your story? How did you start writing books with your friend?
I'll let Natalie tell the story. She tells it really well.
So let's see. We met several years ago now. I had just moved back to the area. We're both in the Minneapolis area, and I had been out of the country. Actually, I was living overseas and writing ghost stories and writing a lot. And when I moved back, I was looking to reconnect with a lot of other writers and just reestablish kind of a writers group and network and stuff. And I sort of had stalked Jessica enough to know that she was writing the same sorts of things that I was. And she was an organizer for a local chapter of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators at the time. And she had organized a whole big meet and greet at a bookstore. So I showed up knowing a lot about her already. And we go around the room and we're introducing ourselves. And there were probably 20, 25 people there, and all writers of different levels and talking about what they wrote. I had a literary agent by that time, and so did Jessica. And you're going around the room and introducing yourself. And I said, my name, and I said, I write paranormal mysteries. And her head snapped so in my direction. I thought she was going to get whiplash. So then we talked after and became really fast friends after that. It wasn't too long after that she had invited me to go along. She had started a group called Ghost Stories, Inc. So she had invited me to go along on a paranormal investigation that they were doing. And yeah, so it was just kind of evolved from there. And we love hanging out together because our creative energy really flows when we get. And then when this opportunity came up to write these books together, we thought, I only want to do this with my friend. It's a lot more fun to write these books together.
Yeah.
It's so much better to do stuff with your friends. You're more likely, I think, to do it.
Yeah.
And to still like it, right?
I'm not sure I would have done so many by myself. I feel like doing it together has been awesome.
That's how we feel about the podcast is, we're 182 episodes. We have a bunch of bonus episodes. We would not have done this far without it.
No, absolutely not.
Max, are you a little bit frozen? Can you hear us?
I am freezing a little bit, but I can hear you guys.
Okay, if you need to, you can bring your mic over here and we can just make it work. We're in the same house. I love that idea of writing with your best friend. Can you tell us, everyone, this was like the main question, was what is your process of writing these with your best friend?
It's kind of evolved over the years. So we've been doing this. I mean, when did the first one come out? Was that like 8 or 9 years ago? It's been forever. When we first started, when we first started, we'd get together. We'd kind of like independently research ideas on our own and then come together. The first one we met in a coffee shop in St. Paul, and we were going down our list of monster stories, and we were probably talking pretty loudly. I'm like,
we got in an argument. Not to interrupt you, but we got in an argument, and the coffee shop was full of lawyers, and we're sitting at a table, and we start arguing, and we're like, okay, fine, you can write the story about the snake that eats the dead bodies out of the coffins if I can write the story about the werewolf that eats the cowboys. And the whole coffee
barter system.
Out after that.
I will say Max would fight for both of those stories so hard.
Yeah,
I would.
They're both
right
Max would be like, I will write both of those and you find your own thing.
Now we streamline it. So I didn't mean to cut you off, Jessica.
No, that's fine. I love it. No, now we use a Google Doc, and we share everything in there. We have like a flow chart with different stories. We just assign our name to it. We have different colors. It's color coded, and we drop our color onto it, and we know the person is writing it, and then we put it in a Google Doc and just work back and forth like that.
So it literally is, each story is like individual to you guys, and then you put them together.
To start with.
But we have rules. So
Okay.
once it goes into the manuscript, the other person can edit it without comments. So you can edit it however you need to. Like, and now, I mean, we're so streamlined with this that there isn't a whole lot of editing that has to happen anymore. But
Oh yeah.
you know, in the beginning, we were flipping the stories back and forth quite a bit with the rules that you can change whatever you want, unless it's something substantive that you're not sure about a fact. So now that's kind of more our edits. Hey, this didn't make sense to me. Would you, double check the facts on this or whatever. So by the end, then our voices really blend together and we've both had our hands in both stories. So then it's like I don't even remember which ones I wrote and which ones she wrote. So it's a collaborative process for sure.
I was going to say, because when you read it, you can't really tell a big difference in writing style.
Yeah,
so that is
what we've heard. Yeah, they're very blended. We just really start with one person, like I'm responsible for the research on this one and the first draft. And then we just kind of work it together like that. So
that's so cool. Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. So one of the big questions, I'm looking at my questions and I'm looking at the Discord. They were kind of popping off. One of the big one is, which story do you think got you into studying cryptozoology or like supernatural? Like, what was your big, like the story that was like, I have to know more about this?
Well, okay. So I was definitely, and Natalie too, we started out in this space more ghost girls.
It's the ghost to monster pipeline. We understand.
Yeah. And when I first started doing this work, my first novel that I wrote was about a girl that could see spirits and kind of discern the good spirits from the bad spirits. You got your nice grandma spirit who's there kind of cheering you on. And then you've got this demon over here trying to make your life miserable. And
who can say which is better?
I mean, right. They're both two sides of the same coin. But all of that stuff really came from kind of a lifetime of personal paranormal experiences growing up and actually being a person who saw a lot of spirits. And so I was just naturally interested in that and started kind of making that my brand, so to speak. So, yeah. And then I had a lot of stuff going on with that. I mentioned before we came on air about doing a show called Darkness Radio. I started doing that. I formed Ghost Stories, Inc., which is a group of creative professionals, artists, and authors who go to historic and reportedly haunted locations for creative inspiration. And we run retreats at haunted hotels and teach writing and art. And then we do a ghost hunt together.
That's so fun.
Yeah. So all of that kind of just got people to know me and then Natalie as kind of the paranormal mamas. And then the publisher reached out to us and said, would you guys like to write a book about monsters? We really want one. And we're like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And then it just, one book turned into, I don't know, what are we going to have, like 17 this time next year?
Wow. There's a lot.
Yeah. And I think it's not a far stretch. You talk about the pipeline, and I too was pulled into this world through just a fascination with ghosts and wanting to understand more about what that energy was. And I'm a huge history nerd and research geek. Mm-hmm. And these stories are all research based. And when you start looking at them and kind of diving down those research rabbit holes to explore where the legend started and what the different sightings were, because they're all different. It's about telling the truth about a story that maybe is and preserving the history of it and preserving some of these legends.
Yeah. We run into that constantly with folklore because, they're very blended, right? The cryptids, it's all folklore. We constantly find new ways that people are trying to find to tell the story or to save the story. And it's all, connected. So we could tell the same story again and again, but there's something different about it. And it's just a way of preserving it. It's important.
Yeah, I think so. And I remember growing up and being in school and thinking history was so boring. And now as an adult, I'm like, that's so sad because history is so cool. And
they don't teach the good parts.
No. They really don't. And I feel like I'm a former teacher, and I feel like to me, this is like a sneaky way of getting history into kids' minds. Here's all the history of, we wrote a book about was it Pennsylvania ghosts? And that's so much cool history of, the Civil War and going through that and sharing the ghost stories, you're also giving the kids this big, healthy, hearty, yummy dose of their history lesson, and they don't even really know what's happening.
Yeah, gotcha, kids.
And even with the monster stories, we get to touch on that too. The Pacific Northwest book had a lot of, I didn't even realize during World War II how much military presence was there in shoring up those borders in the northern part of the United States. And to get to tell, there was a really cool lake monster story that was witnessed by some cadets training in a submarine. They used to do submarine training in some of those lakes because the lakes are so deep. So
that is so scary to me.
Me too.
Yeah. So, but it was just really cool. I didn't, it was a way to get in some of that, or even the westward expansion, like the Southwest book, and you've got all the pioneers coming across and getting to share some of those native legends and different things too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. My father was a Green Beret, and he was specifically a diver. And he tells me these stories all the time. I have a deep fear of seals. I don't like them. And he tells me all the time about diving in those lakes in the Pacific Northwest and stuff like that, and it being so dark and murky under there that you can't see things until they're right next to you, and how like the seals and the animals would get like right in your face while you're down there in the pitch black, and you wouldn't see them until they're like nightmare.
That's scary. That's scarier than that's scarier than monsters or ghosts.
It's scarier than cryptids.
Yeah.
Seals. Max, did you want to read some of the Discord questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
As she's finding them, I will say one of the questions that I remember seeing on there is Tori B. We're going to say their Discord names and just, I'm sorry. Most of them are from the podcast and they're really weird out of context.
We'll love it.
Good. And we won't be able to explain it because we don't remember where they're from. But one of the questions, which I think is topical, was, do you have a favorite water monster? I don't know why she was thinking about that, but
I mean, they're all kind of cute. Water monsters tend to be adorable, I think, for the most part. But I love Lake Peppy, the Peppy monster, because that's here in our neck of the woods, and we can drive down to Lake Pepin and see if we can find it. But it's kind of like it's our Loch Ness monster in Minnesota.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's
I
adorable.
love that. I used to spend summers up in New York with my grandmother, and we used to go up to Lake Champlain together. And so I always grew up hearing stories about Champy.
Yes.
Oh my God, Peppy and Champy, they should team up.
They always have really cute names for the water monsters.
Like Nessie. I mean, totally.
And that one, the Lake Champlain monster, they actually have laws protecting it. So like if you were to go out and shoot Champ, you could go to jail. Like that's a big deal.
Good. Wait, that's
we need to protect our cryptids.
That's right.
Protect your local cryptids.
Do you have a favorite lake monster, Natalie?
I love them all, but we just did edits on a book we turned in that's coming out in August, and the story that we were working on, I don't remember the monster's name. Do you remember the one with the marshmallows?
Oh gosh, I don't. I should remember his name. No, it's just it's like a lake monster.
It's the Southwest. It's the monsters of the Southwest. The Southwest. It's a lake monster. And the story in the book was based on some local reports about how the school children decided that it was safe to swim in the water if you brought a bag of marshmallows for the lake monster. So
no.
The story.
Oh no.
The monster would eat you if you brought it a snack.
Oh, that's so cute.
I know. So I kind of took all those stories together and we made it into just a way to tell the story.
And if I could pitch a name, Marshy.
I'm desperately over here trying to find it as you guys are talking. There's so many manuscripts to look through, though.
Turns out we do this a lot.
Oh my goodness. This used to be a lot easier to find things than it is now.
You could just Control F marshmallows if they come up more than once.
Yeah.
I'm going to find it, though. I'm going to find that monster name. I'm almost there.
A little bit more macro of a question. Do you guys have a favorite monster overall?
I mean, I really So I don't know if it's my favorite monster, but every time we write a book about a region, I'm always looking for a Wendigo. I am obsessed. And so I'm always trying to find one. And there's not a lot of great stories in every region. So we can't always include one in the book. So
I did the Wendigo for this one. That was the story I picked because I really wanted to talk about Jack Fiddler. I was like, oh my God. Because, I didn't realize that it was specifically to like Algonquin tribes. And so they really are more up north and kind of your neck of the woods.
Yeah, they are. And they feel to me like they're kind of akin to or maybe somehow related to a skinwalker. They're very similar to me in some of the descriptions that you get of them.
But it's like it's so obvious to me the difference in climates, though.
Yeah.
Where the Wendigo, you imagine them in a colder, more foresty climates, and skinwalkers are so desert-based.
Yes,
where it's like the Navajo, like that is so specific.
Yeah, but they are like very linked to that native history of our nation. So to me, it's very fascinating because you're getting some of that history of what our ancestors believed, the founding people who were here first, like what their history is. And I think that's pretty cool. I did find that monster. It's Cecil. Cecil, the lake monster.
Cecil, yes. That's right. Thank you.
So cute. Yeah, no, you're right. That's the cutest thing I've ever heard. Cecil who loves marshmallows.
Cecil loves marshmallows.
Yeah. God, that's so sweet.
Natalie, did you have a favorite monster?
Oh gosh, they're all my favorites. No,
don't make me choose.
I tend to really like the stories about the monsters that could actually be aliens.
Yeah,
the Einfeld horror in our first book was one of my favorites because of the witnesses in that one. That one, it's a story of a three-legged creature that was trying to get into this house, and these little kids. These kids were home alone and they were locking the doors, and this thing was trying to get in, and there were scratch marks on the outside and all kinds of stuff happening. And then the parents came home and the thing had run off, and then they come to find out that just 10 minutes later, the house next door, this kid was playing in the yard, and he came running in the house because his tennis shoes were all shredded. And so there were multiple different witnesses that saw this creature. And then the police show up and they took off, and I think they were even shooting at it, and they found footprints and everything, but then it just vanished. So
yeah,
and that one was really well researched.
Widely reported in the newspapers and TV news.
So that one was one of my favorites. And then there was another one in there, the Green Beast. There was, speaking of swimming, and it was a water creature.
And it wasn't cute. It was an icky one.
These moms had gone swimming in the river with their kids, and they were just floating in inner tubes, and something came up from underneath and grabbed this woman, and she ended up with this mark on her leg that was green, and it wouldn't go away. And a few days later, the Men in Black showed up at her house and told her she had to stop talking about it. And I think Jessica did a lot of research on that one. I think it was that story where you were able to find parallel UFO reports that happened at the same time.
Yeah, there was a really well-known UFO encounter that happened just a few miles away from that, right around the same time, like within days. And so there was just a lot of stuff going on in that area that felt very alien.
That's so cool. I always think that in my lifetime, I want to see people sue the CIA for silencing them. Feel like it was true the whole time.
I agree.
I'm looking at the questions as well. We have based off of a cryptid, we have a listener called The Grunch. Have you guys ever done any stories of The Grunch?
No.
If you ever read any J.J. Renaud, she's a phenomenal folklorist. She passed from cancer back in, I think, 2002 or something, but she's such a wonderful folklorist. But she's from Louisiana, and she tells monster stories from Louisiana specific that she firsthand gets. And one of them is about a cryptid called the Grunch, who lives on Grunch Lane. It's like used to be a lover's lane, but now it's haunted by this like horrible little like sheep guy. And what he does is he like throws rocks at cars. And he's just a huge menace, and it's our Sleepy Hollow episode, and truly, I think our most unhinged episode of all times because we could not hold it together about the grunge.
I love it. I've never heard of the grunge, but I'm fascinated.
That's a freebie. Take the grunge. Really take him. But we have a listener called the Grunge who really holds that mantle of like chaos well. Like if any of them are ever going to throw rocks, it's going to be the Grunge. And the Grunge would like to know, and I'm gonna curse because I'm quoting them.
Okay, that's fine. We can handle it.
Okay, this isn't a podcast for children. All right, they said, fuck, marry, kill, Bigfoot, Yeti, Alabama White Thang. This one's for you, Grunge.
Oh, gosh. Which one do I want to make love to?
Yes, thank you.
Which one do I want to marry and which one do I want to kill? I don't want to kill any of them, honestly. Freaking love them all.
They're endangered.
Yeah, all of them are endangered. This is a crime that we're asking you this.
Also, they all stink really badly, so I don't particularly want to have sex with any of them.
I'm sorry, you have to.
Okay. Well, if I have to. What were we talking about?
Bigfoot, Yeti, Alabama White Thang.
I think I'm going to marry Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's so fair.
I think I'm going to fuck a Yeti. Can we isolate that?
Perfect. We got what we needed.
We're writing an article, a tell-all. It's just, I'm going to fuck a Yeti. Just
and I can't kill any of them. I might have to have
Alabama White Thang.
I might have to do a double team with the Alabama White Thang and a Yeti.
And then later, I'll kill myself.
Because I'm going to stink so bad.
Yeah, you're like, this will never go away. It's a perma-stink. All right, Natalie. Those are really good answers. Jessica.
I don't know. I've heard a lot about how the Yeti and the Bigfoot smell. I don't think I could. I don't know if I could.
You're going to have to be like when you
get close enough.
The people that do the autopsies, we need that stuff you put under your nose.
The Vicks vapor rub. Yeah. I will say it comes down to climate for me. I don't feel like being super cold, and so I guess the Yeti's going to have to go.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm a Minnesota girl that I'm like, yeah, let's go get naked with a Yeti.
Yeah, you're like, this seems fine. Meanwhile, we're over here in Savannah like, I'm sorry. Too cold. Absolutely not. So, Natalie, are you just passing? You're like, no, they all smell bad. We all died. You're like, if those are my only choices, everybody's dying today.
I really took one for the team over
Depends
here.
on how snuggly they are.
You are so vulnerable. All right, Grunch, are you happy?
Yeah. Are you happy?
I don't know. I think we need to add some more into that mix. Like the Mothmans are kind of my thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then do F, marry, kill with any of the cryptids.
Okay.
Is it too much?
It's a big
Which
question.
cryptid would you kill? Which cryptid would you be like,
I wouldn't kill any of them. I'm going to just say that. They all I'm a lover, not a fighter.
They all have a space in our hearts. That's all. We just love them all.
Yeah.
There's got to be like a ghost that gropes. There's got to be like somebody out there.
Who's sexier, a Mothman or Bigfoot?
Mothman.
Bigfoot.
Mothman,
I'm
I
a
think,
Mothman.
probably.
Bigfoot.
Really?
Yeah.
Janey.
Yeah.
Guys,
got
Mothman's too shy. I feel like he'd cry during sex.
Maybe we like an
He's got the like
emotional
Spider-Man, like Batman thing going though. That's
He's got a great ass.
Yeah. Bigfoot's just it's the stink thing. It's all the fur and
yeah.
I mean, logistically, how do you find the parts underneath all that fur? Like,
There are a lot of smutty books about this. I can go ahead and point you in that direction. People have already solved this for you.
We're reading the wrong genre,
I think
apparently.
so.
You guys have a new career in smut coming up.
I have a Bigfoot costume downstairs. I seriously feel like tonight when my husband gets ready for bed, I should just be wearing it.
Yeah, with like a bunch of like raw meat in your pockets. Just like makeup on.
Or maybe like a thong or like a little like
bikini
bralette or something. You'd be like, hey, baby.
What do you think?
Wow, this took an unexpected turn, ladies.
Unfortunately.
I apologize on behalf of our listeners for their rude questions that we would never ask.
We're very classy. Everybody says that.
We have an early episode where I talked about like a pretty little known cryptid, the Black Flash, from up in New England. It was like kind of a Mothman variant, and he just kind of appeared and like jumped out at people for a little while and then disappeared.
Yeah, we wrote about that one in that book. Yeah.
Really? Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Did you find him super sexy? Because we were a little like...
I mean, if he was coming after me, I'd be like, okay, if this is how I have to go.
I'm not running so fast. Yeah, that's a good one. That's an excellent one, Max. I think I'd kill the Grunch. Okay, so...
I was thinking there's those pink dolphins down in South America that are like sort of like incubi. I cannot remember what they're called, but our episode 69, I talked about them.
How appropriate.
It's called nice parentheses nice. And we told sex stories. But that was a good one. The pink dolphins, they turn into like sexy men.
Wow, maybe that'll be our next book. Just a book of sex legend stories.
I have a book of erotic folklore. Like, people are constantly collecting them, and Shahrukh Hussain does it. She has like erotic folktales from around the world, and it's like, all right, guys.
Can you imagine if we pitched that to our publisher? We want to do
monsters. It's like monsters of the bedroom.
We're doing, gangsters, witches.
And then just sex
We're
stuff.
just going to sneak it in there and see what happens.
There's got to be one in every book. They're like, excuse us? Why?
One of our listeners has a really great question, I think. Chucky Sly asks, is there a region or area where you're more cautious about than you were before you researched the stories related to it?
I mean, cautiously want to go there more because they have really cool cryptid stories.
No fear.
I felt like the Pacific Northwest was a really cool, they had so many cool stories and they really embraced their cryptid history and legends. And I think it would be a lot of fun to go there. There's none that I don't want to go to. I want to go to them all.
So you're like, you have no fear. Like you go in and you're like, I'm open to all of these experiences.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we don't really have any fear at all. We're the ones going first into the creepy basement, always.
Like head first. You're like heart open, eyes closed.
No, we were doing an investigation in California one time, and none of the guys would go down to the basement. And Jessica and I are like, okay, we'll go.
It's always the girls. I have to say, I have the funniest picture from one of our earlier investigations. It was before Natalie was with us. I was the only girl, and it was all guys. And we were at this place, and they're like, there's actually something down the hallway right there. And I'm like, cool, where's it at? I'm going to go touch it. And they're like, what? And so I go running down the hallway and I'm like, am I near it? Do you see it? And they're like, I turn around and they're all like crouched down in the doorway. Like they look terrified, but they all have cameras out and they're videotaping me. And so I took a picture. I'm like, you guys are so sad looking. I'm the girl.
It is always the girls. I lead some of the ghost tours in Savannah, and I also lead, true crime. But Savannah's super haunted. It's America's most haunted city. And every time night, like I usually get like couples, and the girls are always like, tell us all the ghost stories as we go. Like, I want to hear it. We have boo hags here that follow you home. Like, we got some real scary shit. And the guys every time are like, I don't want that. Like, don't tell that around me. And I'm like, guys, how are you together? Like, she's only there for you to like push her in front of you when you're going down dark roads.
Yeah, girls are tougher than guys. Sorry.
Yes.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah, good girls.
But to get back to the question, because I want to answer the listener's question.
Thank you so much.
The the South. I was really, the wilderness. There's so much wilderness there that is untapped, and so that was something that really intrigued me when we were working on the Monsters of the South, just because of the vastness of the unexplored areas there, and they're all swampy and
This is the swamp. There's something different about having to also navigate the swamp.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a story that stuck with you that you were just like, oh, like this person told it and it's a little disturbing, or like, oh, this is. Have you ever had anything like that, or it just like stuck to you for a bit?
I would say there was one. I think it was in Idaho, and it was a dogman story, and it was very dark and very scary. And I actually interviewed the person who had the experience. He was a pastor and very credible. And he sent me images of the kind of like footprints in the snow on top of his house, because at one point he heard it on the roof of his house, and he went up there the next morning and took pictures, and it looked like animal footprints, giant ones, like going across, but it would mimic voices, and it was like stalking his family, and it was trying to lure his children outside, and it would stand in the backyard, and the kids and the wife would see it looking over the top of their privacy fence. It was just very scary. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying. Why would it have a vendetta against one family? Are they like banshees where you get your own?
They went out for a walk. He went out kind of looking for Bigfoot initially with somebody from his church. And it was somebody who actually worked for the park department or something to that effect. So he had kind of the ability to kind of go in areas where other people couldn't. And they encountered this thing in the dark in a very wooded area, and it was kind of stalking them, and then it kind of followed him home.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Horrifying. What about you, Natalie?
Let's see. I have to say the Einfeld horror creature, that one stuck with me just because of the witnesses and the independent accounts of that. But the one, there's a section in the Northeast, Monsters of the Northeast, that we did on vampires.
Yeah.
And that one still sticks with me. The series of the vampire stories, because that actually was more people. That one wasn't actually a creature. The terror from that one comes by how the people were treating each other in that. In that
spoiler alert,
series,
they weren't really vampires.
But that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like the actual monster is never these cryptids and folkloric creatures. It's how humans treat each other when they get suspicious.
Yeah.
Right?
You had these really remote communities, and they were getting their news from the fire and brimstone preachers that were going from town to town. At the same time, they were dealing with this really awful disease, which was consumption, which at the time we didn't know was tuberculosis, and it's incredibly contagious and pre-antibiotics, and it wasn't that long ago in our history. These were stories from the 1800s, and this disease was wiping out full families, and they were just looking for answers, and somehow they decided they needed to dig up the bodies to see if there was evidence of vampires, and then it just spiraled into a lot of fear.
Yeah.
It quickly becomes a witch hunt.
Yes. And
right?
That's what I was actually going to say. We just finished writing the witches of the well, it wasn't the Northeast, New England, which is of New England. And we, you know, there was a whole kind of witch trial situation in Connecticut, and then there was the Salem witch trials, obviously. But that really kind of harkens to that, where it's like, it's really just humanity's way of trying to figure out what's going on and understand things they can't understand. And it's all this fear and trying to blame something when, you know, really it's just life.
Yeah.
But
and to have a way to fight it. You know, I mean, we find that in folklore all the time of like, we have these wild stories that sound so out of pocket, and we're like, what? There's a dead horse head that's talking and like gnashing its teeth, and like, it sounds so weird sometimes to a modern audience, and it sounds horrific and we love it. But it is always attached to something so much bigger and so much darker that people were going through. They just really wanted answers,
An explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, we get that in folklore all the time. I told the story of Little Princess Cottongrass, which is a little girl that goes off with a talking moose. It's like a Swedish story. And she has this adventure and then ends up being left because she loses everything about herself and like ends up, I cried my eyes out. But it was like such an obvious like story that was about like parents who lose their kids, right? Because kids just go missing sometimes. And back then, what do? And so you write this magical story where you know exactly what happened to her. And it's not great, but you got an answer.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with, people's behavior.
Mm-hmm. People are scared. I mean, people are always like, what are you most scared of? And I'm always like, people. I'm most afraid of people. I'm not afraid of ghosts. I'm not afraid of monsters. It's humanity and what humanity can do to one another that scares me.
100%. We have 2 more questions that we'll end with. But before we do that, do you have any last things that you want to tell? Do you want to talk about your podcast, Jessica? Tell us all about it.
Oh, sure. I co-host a podcast called Darkness Radio. We've been around for a really long time, and you can usually hear me on Tuesdays in the True Crime Tuesdays segment. We talk about dumb crimes and stupid criminals and laugh. And then sometimes I'll be on the Wednesday one, the paranormal news as well. So it's fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And you said that they've been doing that for like 20 years.
Yeah, this is their 20-year anniversary. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, that's amazing.
Incredible. Do you have anything you guys want to plug? Natalie, did you have anything?
We're just busy writing books right now.
You're like,
we've got 3 new ones coming out in August. So Witches of New England. And then we're finishing off the monster series, Monsters of the Rocky Mountains and Monsters of the Southwest. So that'll include California too. So,
yeah. Oh my God. Oh, how bittersweet. Are you going to miss your monster series?
No.
We told our publisher, monster fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah. I got some books to send you. They also talk about that.
But we are moving on to such cool things. We wrote Ghosts of the Wild West last year that came out, and now we're going to we're working on Dark Waters. So ghost stories about lakes and haunted water, ocean stuff. And then we also get to do gangsters this year. So
cool.
Yeah.
So fun.
You really have like no end to the books that you could put out.
It's true. This could go on forever.
That's incredible. That's so fun. We're going to look for that. I love the idea of Rocky Mountain Monsters. I went skydiving over the Rocky Mountains. It's the coolest thing I've ever done.
See, I'm afraid of that.
I am too.
I won't jump out of a plane.
What if I said I saw Mothman while I was up there?
Oh,
Maybe.
He was so scared of me and he flew away. Guys, he would not be good in bed. Tori B says, this is my last Discord question. Tori B says, do you have any pets? Can we see pictures?
Oh, I can do better.
Oh, she's going to go find those little dogs. Tori B, This is a great question.
Hold on.
Natalie's like, I guess. I knew it was a little white dog.
I have 2 little white dogs. This is Winston Churchill, and here comes Phoebe. Hold on.
He looks, oh my God, a little. Oh,
wow. This is my old doggy, my old lady dog. This is
oh my God.
She caught a mouse today, so she shouldn't be licking my face.
the great hunter. Good for you. Oh, what are your dogs' names? Winston Churchill, Phoebe.
Phoebe
Hello,
Buffet.
Phoebe. This is Carly.
And Carly.
And then I have a big cat that's 20 pounds somewhere. He's bigger than the dog, and his name is Palmer after the Palmer House.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah. Tori B, what a great question.
I love that question.
And our last question, we asked this to all of our guests. We have 3 tiers on our Patreon. One is the Team Troll tier. That's, to stand by the trolls, because we are always Team Troll. There's no folklore in which the trolls are the bad guys, just so you know.
I like that.
And then we have a upper tier where it's story babies, where they get the bonus episodes. But in the middle, we have a girlfriends tier where anybody who is on that tier gets to be our girlfriend or we're their girlfriends. And so the question we ask all of our guests is, do you want in? Because you could be a girlfriend for free. Do you want to be our girlfriend?
I would love to be your girlfriend.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Natalie, you want to be our
Yes.
girlfriend?
Absolutely. Sign me
More
up.
girlfriends. Great. This is a great first date. You guys, this was so incredibly fun.
It was.
We had an absolute blast.
Yes.
We did
Thank you so
too.
much for coming out, everybody.
Anytime you, like, for your next books and stuff like that, if you want to chat about them, if you're like, guys, let us come on. We have more details about who we want to have sex with. Let us know. You're invited whenever.
All
We
right.
will totally be back for sure.
And we'll let
Yeah,
you
we
know the
would
next
love
time we
to.
pick up your book. We use another one.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, we loved meeting you, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for having
much.
us.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I always panic when we have to. I feel like I wasn't always like this, but now every time we do tests, I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know anything. I've never been anywhere.
Sometimes you come with like prepared statements.
Occasionally.
That's fun.
When I remember.
Sometimes I come with prepared statements.
Yeah.
This is an awkward thing where we're forced to talk to each other. We don't usually do that.
Yeah.
We try really hard to avoid each other at all times.
Have
It's
you had any of
authentic.
those plums?
No.
They're really good.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I had a grapefruit today.
Ooh, I can't have that.
No meds, gang. Take that how you will.
I was talking to my therapist and I was like, I'm thinking about like trying to go off my medication just to reestablish a baseline so I can like try different medications and see what works best.
Yeah.
And she was like, that could be a good idea. Like we can talk about doing that and, you know, we'll do that in collaboration with your therapist and everything, like with your psychiatrist and everything. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Also, I'm thinking about doing ketamine.
What? I talked to an EMT, not for emergency reasons, for fun reasons. And he was like, he's like, if you do recreational drugs, I can't do that, but I can get you ketamine. And I was like, I can't do that either, but that's good to know. Anyway, so I might have a ketamine hookup.
Nice. I also might have a ketamine hookup.
Who doesn't have a ketamine hookup?
My psychiatrist offers ketamine treatment. So
What does it do?
I don't know. It like hard resets your brain, I guess.
I assumed it was like pain management.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
No, it's like it really is like hard resetting your brain.
But they give it in emergency situations.
Mm.
Why would you need to hard reset your brain in an ambulance?
Mm. Maybe like
Hello?
shock.
EMT people, can you? No.
Should we ask?
I literally looked at my phone like, should I just text him and call him and ask him, why would I need ketamine? He'd be like, you don't. You super don't need ketamine. There's one thing I learned about you recently. You don't need anything. You're fine.
Wow.
I am fine. And I'm great at dancing. Max, you want to add on to that?
No.
Let's do this fucking episode. This is bullshit.